Is it okay to be good enough? Or should we accept nothing less than living up to an ideal of perfection in everything we do? Perhaps, as the Torah will show us, there's something in the middle. And this week's Parashat Emor, begins with a series of laws given to the Kohanim, the priests who will serve in the Mishkan and then ultimately the Beit HaMikdash. But we're going to focus on the way that these Kohanim are referred to in really the beginning of our Parasha. Vayomer Hashem El Moshe Emor, the name of our Parsha. So who is he going to say this to? El HaKohanim B'nei Aharon, to the Kohanim, the descendants, the sons of Aharon. Great! Now let's move on to the meaty stuff, right? Except we have a tradition that no words in the Torah are wasted. There's no such thing as repetition. So what's repetitive here? It says, El HaKohanim, to the priests, B'nei Aharon, who are the descendants, the sons of Aharon. Well, here's the thing. All of the Kohanim are B'nei Aharon, are descendants of Aharon, and all of B'nei Aharon, all of the sons of Aharon, are Kohanim. So why do we need both phrases? Now the answer could be as simple as the 13th century French commentator Chizkuni suggests, which is Kohanim refers to the adults who are just about ready to actually serve in the Mishkan, and the B'nai Aharon are the minors, who are too young to serve, but they still need to hear this. But Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi of British Mandate Palestine, suggests something deeper going on here. So the first thing he says is that B'nai Aharon has to do with your family. This is the potential, the intrinsic nature that you are born with. No matter what, B'nai Aharon are always could be Kohanim. They're born with it. But the actual word Kohanim, connected to the Hebrew word lechachen, to serve, has to do with your actions. It's like potential and kinetic energy. The potential or ideal holiness is something they're born with. It's always there behind the scenes. But the actual holiness, to what they actually serve, their Kohanic status in the world, is defined by their actions. But what does this really matter? Aren't we all judged by our actions? So Rav Kook points out how this plays out in some very interesting ways. Now, Kohanim are forbidden from marrying divorced women. That's the ideal. They should not marry divorced women. But if they do marry a divorced woman, their wedding is kosher. And if they have a child, which of course they shouldn't be doing, but if they have a child, that child's kind of a weird status in between. They're called a halal, meaning they're not at the level of special holiness. They're just a regular status. They can't serve in the temple. But let's say they do. Let's say they offer a korban, they offer a sacrifice. That korban, says Rambam in his Mishnah Torah, is accepted. So what's going on here? They're born as a halal, so all their potential holiness is gone, right? Well, no, it's still there behind the scenes. Now, because of a decision their parents made, they're not allowed to offer sacrifices. But if they actually do it, even though it's not ideal, and ideally they shouldn't, it still counts. And God still accepts it. So the takeaway from this is not necessarily about the specific laws of kahuna, but that we are all born with this ideal potential, but we don't always live up to it. Question is, will God still accept us even if we're not doing our best? And God does want us to strive to be our best, to achieve our ideal potential, but the truth is we really just often don't. And that's okay. God still accepts us for who we are, and for the effort, the attempt. Now, we are commanded to keep trying to be better. We can't rest or be satisfied with good enough. But if God recognizes that we each have this intrinsic value, even if we're not living up to our potential, can't we accept ourselves for who we are, instead of beating ourselves up for failing? Rather, we should be encouraging ourselves to be better, holier. With that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, and be well.